Hey everyone, Dan here. Before we get into it, if you enjoy these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button. And keep in mind that these are my own thoughts, opinions, and ideas. These are not meant to be, nor should you take them as investment or trading advice in any way, shape, or form. Do your own due diligence, put in the work for yourself, and make your decisions based on that. Enjoy.
All right, folks, here we are on Monday, March 4th. We're going to take a look at NIO today. So NIO got beat up a bit today ahead of earnings, down almost 7.5%. But I thought we'd come and take a look and see where it might head based on the earnings reaction, whether it booms, busts, or goes relatively sideways. Now, there have been a lot of big reactions this earnings season, and especially some really big reactions in the EV market. So we'll see how that plays out for old NIO. Now, the nearest in support level that I have is 519. So we'll see how that sort of gets digested. That 519 up to that like 605 level, pretty big range in there percentage wise. So if it did go what I would consider relatively sideways, I would say something from around that 519 up to about, there's probably a little level here developing around, say, 568 or so. So maybe if it kind of pinballed in that little range, that might sort of suffice for something that looks relatively sideways. But if it does really plummet, then that 519 will likely give way pretty quickly, and it may get trapped back under this downtrend resistance, which it had worked quite hard to leave. But as we saw, it's already been drawn back down into it once and has just recently left it again. So if it does get back under there, that'll be sort of a dominant factor moving forward. But additionally, 452 is a potential level that I see, 419, and then 390 if it slips below 4, which would be quite wild. I remember, a few years ago, folks were talking about NIO to 100. And the slaughterhouse that ensued since that crazy period has been something to behold. But if it does boom and it gets some wind at its backside, 605, 656, and if it stretches, 715, 758, and 781 look like potential resistance levels as we make that approach toward that psychological $8 level. There is still an unfilled gap up here. It would get into it at about 960. It would fill it at about 1022. So if it really has some lasting strength here, potentially that would come into play. It is interesting. Yeah, the high on this day came in at 957. So it's just shy of being able to hit that 960. So probably, that's, if it does get up there, it's going to serve as sort of a resistance to an entry point as well. But there are, if it gets above this 781 and folks are interested, let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to come in and add some additional levels in. I guess same thing if it really plummets and gets down below 4. If you want some additional levels after that to the downside, let me know. We can come take a look. Now on the think or swim side of things, this is always one of my favorite things to see. So it's like half my favorite, I guess we'll say. So the thing that I like to see is a lengthy trigger on the TTM squeeze indicator going into earnings. It's always nice to see, sort of sometimes can give me additional confidence, depending on the confluence of factors, that there could be a big move coming. And maybe you won't get trapped with theta burn or something, depending on what happens or what you're playing. The thing that's lacking in my favorite setup is it's not pinned to the mid-range of the channel. I know it's kind of trying to hold on, but it's really mostly pinned to this like lower mid-range of the channel. So, maybe not the end of the world. Maybe none of it will really mean much of anything indicators wise, because earnings is such a big catalyst. But if I had my druthers, I would move all of these candles up to the mid-range here, just have it pinned, putting in candles that engulf the mid-range perpetually as it's triggering. That would be my ideal situation. So if it does turn downward here, 511 is the lower bound of the channel for the time being. This channel is dynamic, so it shifts when candles are put in, when price action is put in, so just be aware of that. May not be exactly at 511 by the time you watch this video. The mid-range to overcome if it does pop upward, 585. Can it establish over 585? And if so, you see there 622 and 658 would fill out the rest of the channel. So we'll see how those play out, if it's able to stay in the channel or if it pops out in either direction, and how these levels hold up. We'll know soon enough. All right, folks, I hope that your trading week is off to a good start. And as always, I appreciate you watching, and I will see you in the next video.